Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
I have no idea what the after Unbound looks like. Then I might do something completely different with the second half of my season.
You're gonna start eating meat? Like, what are you gonna do to make those goals happen?
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Get better. I'll punch you.
Get back into the Lifetime Grand Prix.
Okay.
All right.
So via means of qualification, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess get back into the Lifetime Grand Prix could also mean like have a good enough season this year that I get back in next year. But ultimately, I would like to wild card back in this year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good luck. You're gonna fight me for that, buddy.
I know. It's gonna be tough.
He's sweating.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's assume that you're talking about getting back in through the wild card. Are you solely like that is your sole focus right now? Like you're going all in on Sea Otter and Unbound, and right now you're not even thinking about what happens after that.
Yeah. People have asked me what I'm doing in the second half of this year, what my season looks like. And I've told everyone I have no idea what the after Unbound looks like because I'm not even going to plan anything after Unbound until I know whether I get the wild card spot.
Yeah.
If I don't get the wild card spot, then I might do something completely different with the second half of my season as opposed to chasing Grand Prix races when I'm not even part of the Grand Prix. But Sea Otter and Unbound, I mean, Unbound is already a AAA race to begin with, so that changes nothing. And Sea Otter should be a high priority regardless of whether I'm in the series or not, because there's so many pponsors there, there's so many eyeballs on it. Like, It's also a good one to go for. So Sea Otter and Unbound doesn't even really necessarily change a whole lot about my lead up, because those are probably races I would target anyway. But yeah.
Nice. Cool. What are some of your process goals to get there? You're going to do more volume, more strength training? You're going to start eating meat? Like, what are you going to do to make those goals happen?
I think that towards the end of last season, I was struggling a lot, and I don't think it was just because of my broken leg that I was coming back from. I think it was maybe I think it had something to do with my ferritin levels. Like my ferritin levels have been on the low side, and I think actually breaking my leg was part of that, because when you break a bone, especially a lower leg bone, your body requires iron to heal it, and people who are kind of already on the edge of low iron can dip into iron deficiency after a broken bone, which I think is what happened to me. So a big thing that I've been trying to get a handle on is raising my ferritin levels. And for those who are listening that don't know what ferritin is, it's basically your body's stored iron. And I was taking a look back at the blood tests that I've had over the past couple of years. For athletes, they like athletes to be above 50 and ideally probably closer to 100. And most of the time when I get my ferritin tested, I'm actually in the 30s or 40s. There was one time where I was 60, and I think there's been a couple of times where I was like just barely within the optimal range. I think that's actually more of a process goal for me right now than anything having to do with volume or a certain type of intervals or this or that. Because the reason why ferritin is so important is because it really does have such a massive impact on how well you recover as an athlete. I mean, having ferritin levels in the 30s versus having ferritin levels in the 60s is probably the difference between, being able to do a 30-hour week and feel good and barely being able to scrape through a 15-hour week.
Is there a way you can test your ferritin levels from home, so you don't have to keep sending in blood?
They have at-home ferritin tests, but they're
not that you'd still have to send it into a lab, right?
You
analysis?
Send it into a lab. Yeah, they have. You can buy an at-home ferritin test at like a pharmacy, and I'm not necessarily recommending those right now because they they're not super accurate. And also it's not like they give you the exact number. It's like a strip that turns a certain color, and then you have to like see what that color coordinates to. It's,
Nice. So there's not a way to see, like, if you make a change, like when you crashed at my house like a month or two ago, you had said that you changed when you were taking your iron supplement. You take it at like 5 because apparently that's a better time to do it. But like, are you able to actually see that that's having an impact on your ferritin?
So the way that I'm
trying to suss out.
Yeah, the way that I see if it has an impact is I take I don't rely on the at-home ferritin test. I just think it's too inaccurate, and it's too important for me to rely on something that's inaccurate. So I just I had 5 blood tests in 2025, and I'll probably have around the same amount this year. And
yeah, I think I had
when it's not prescribed from a doctor, like I just pay for these blood tests, and it's a business expense for me. It's worth it for me because it matters so much to performance. So, I get a blood test, and when I get a blood test, it doesn't just test ferritin, it tests all sorts of different things. And by the way, like your full iron panel is important for context. Like you shouldn't just rely on your ferritin number. There's hemoglobin, hematocrit, serum iron, all of this stuff. They need to be taken into consideration. And for people who aren't used to looking at an iron panel, it's probably a good idea to also consult a doctor when looking at your iron panel, because it can be confusing.
I do want to throw this out there real quick because you might benefit from this as well. Something that was brought to my attention. Blaine showed me this recently. It's called Rhythm, RYTHM. I can't speak from experience because I've never used it, but it's like one of those monthly subscription blood tests. So you do draw your own blood and send it out. And it says it's personalized, so insights tailored to your goals. So I think you can determine, don't quote me, what gets tested. $80 per test.
That's
affordable.
That's a Huberman Lab advertisement. I'm pretty sure.
What?
I'm pretty sure he's
Rhythm?
Sponsored by them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard him talk about that company on his podcast before. Sounds pretty good though.
Well, some kind of sale happening currently, but better than trying to get a referral, go through all that stuff. So.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I use Superpower, and this is not an advertisement for Superpower. They don't sponsor me. I pay for it myself, but they've got it's a pretty comprehensive test. I want to say it's like 120 different, different metrics that they're looking at when they test. So
I started working with this is an advertisement because I like this guy. His name's Alex Winicky. His name's Alex Winicky at Second Arrow Nutrition. You can actually find his info on the Ignition. I started working with him as my nutritionist a couple months ago, and he had told me what to go and test for, just to make sure that like when I go and get blood work, these are the exact things that they know. Because if you just go in and say you want blood work, they might not test for some specific things. And so he
won't.
Yeah. So he gave me a list of things that he wanted me to test for. I went in, told the doctor, they did it. I get emailed my results the next day. And then on the next call I had with Alex, we just walked through those results and he gave me feedback. It was pretty easy.
Nice.
Sweet. What else? So you're working on your iron. Is there anything else that you're doing? I mean, I know that you've said this, and maybe this is all that you're doing, is like the system that you have as far as training methodology is pretty dialed. Like that got you to a 10th place at Unbound 2 years ago. So
right. Yeah. I don't think that I need to change anything about my training methodology. I think that in order to execute my training methodology, which is like these high volume blocks, I need to just have my, I need to have my iron in the right place. Sometimes I get very obsessive about things, and I'm definitely hyper focused on ferritin right now. And so maybe I'm like placing more importance on it than it actually deserves. That's certainly possible. But right now I'm placing, I think that getting my ferritin levels in the optimal range is more important than doing a volume block or having these particular intervals or doing, 30 hours a week or whatever. I mean, I can't do any of those things that I just listed without having optimal ferritin levels. And like I said, I think all of this is spurred on by the injury last year, because I think the injury definitely put me in a hole iron wise. It was just like really taxing on my body, and to rebuild the bone that was broken. So,
and the timing of it, right? Because you got injured literally right at the tail end of your big unbound block.
yeah.
And
So,
the higher your volume is, the higher your chronic training load is, the more at risk you can be for iron deficiency.
Yeah, I mean,
just
so
as an endurance athlete.
Yeah, when I think about last year, so I did the massive unbound block, 100 hours in 3 weeks, and then pretty much immediately after I got hit and broke my leg. So I was probably already in a hole, in a deficit, breaking my leg, and then I broke my leg, and then I was coming back, and the first race back was Leadville, which was probably too taxing of a race for my first race, and it was out at altitude. And if you know anything about altitude and iron, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's like building red blood cells. You need a lot of iron available. It's very taxing on your body. Came back from altitude, and I think you combine those three factors: unbound block, break your leg, Leadville immediately. That's why I was. That's
good.
why I sucked for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that is a bad recipe right there.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah.
So just in case people are curious, what type of iron supplementation are you using?
So the supplement that I use is is it Dr. Wellness or I think it's Dr. Wellness. And I'm using that one because you don't want to overload iron. A lot of people take massive doses of iron, and that's probably counterproductive, actually. In fact, sometimes they even recommend that you take iron every other day instead of every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because having too much iron is toxic for your body. Having too much iron is actually worse than not having enough iron. And if there's anything that I want to say right now is that there's probably and I said this in my video about iron, there's probably some people listening to this who are thinking, oh man, maybe I'm iron deficient. Let me take some iron. You should not do that unless you get a blood test, because having too much iron is worse for both your health and your performance than not having enough iron, because it's toxic to your body. So because your body knows this, like when you pump in massive amounts of iron into your body, it just blocks absorption. So it can actually be counterproductive to over supplement iron. And then this one also has other things like, zinc and magnesium and copper, and so it's got other minerals in it too.
Don't forget, our Good Life Brands has already said that they'd sponsor you if you decide to go unvegan. So there's that on the table too. If you want to try a different source of iron, we can get you some ribeye and some other stuff. You just give me the word and we can get a meat box shipped to you.
All right, I'll let you know about that.
All right.